Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm really behind on all the movies and stuff. I've been gone a while for the most part, as most of you well know. And it's time for me to pretend to put on a happy face and pretend like everything is doing well, everything's going well. And let's talk about some movies. I got a lot of movies here. I may even forget some that I watched. I got a list here. I don't have really any notes. I'm not going to go really long talking about any of these. I just want to play catch up and talk about the movies I've seen. Again, I'll probably forget that one or two that I've seen. But I've got a list here, and we're going to talk about them. So, we might as well start off with a good one. So here we go. The first movie we're going to be talking about is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. This one stars Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. And from what I understand is his last live action role. I believe he is doing some voices in the Marvel What If cartoons. But this is, from what I understand, his final performance. And look, I'm going to be blunt during this video, guys. I'm just going to say it like this. Fuck cancer for taking away such a talented actor. That's just the easiest way I can say it. And forgive me for those of you that watch me for me holding my tongue. I just don't feel like it today. Look, Chadwick Boseman's amazing in this. Viola Davis is amazing in this. And what the movie is about is Ma Rainey is going to record an album. And rightfully so, she is a bit of a quote-unquote diva. I mean, she's earned her place. And the movie basically turns out that back then, of course, white America was going to take advantage of any talent that black America is offering. With the character of Ma Rainey, they're going to sell her albums, and she probably isn't going to see much of the profits from it. And for Chadwick Boseman's character, he has some really good music as well, and the white record producers are basically going to try to steal it from him for pennies on the dollar, even though it's innovative stuff. And they also show that, of course, the stuff that Ma Rainey came up with, it's never going to be big, but then they give it to the white music industry and they make hits out of it. So, it is a big story about white America just walking all over the talent of black America back then. So, it's a shorter movie. I don't think it needed to be any longer. But it's like an hour and a half, but it gets its point across. It's based on a play, I guess. I guess it's not a real, like everything that happens in this didn't really happen. And I have never seen the play or anything. So, and you learn about Chadwick Boseman's character and how, his growing up has affected him mentally, and some things happen in the movie with his character, where his mental state comes into play. But yeah, all around great performances. There's a lot of people will be like, there's a lot of talking in this movie. Yeah, they're telling a story. And you have these characters all, you're finding out about them as they're telling these stories to each other throughout the movie. And they are trying to record this one song. I mean, they eventually record some other songs, but the Black Bottom song, Ma Rainey wants to sing it her way. I believe it's her nephew. I don't exactly remember. You gotta forgive me. It's been a while since I watched some of these movies. She wants him to do like the intro, and he stutters, and then things come out of that. And all around, great performances, great movie. It's on Netflix, and I highly recommend it. Next up is The Midnight Sky, starring and directed by George Clooney. Man, I wanted to like this movie. I really did. I liked George Clooney a lot in it. But then it did something in the movie I knew it was going to do, and I hated it for doing it. Okay, first of all, the world has had some mysterious event where People have to escape to the underground or it's going to kill them. Clooney's character decides to stay behind because he's dying anyway of a form of cancer. And he's going to try to warn any of the astronauts that are out trying to discover new worlds and things, that things are bad here, right? People are dying, don't come home, all this stuff. And I knew exactly where the movie was going. While I enjoyed it somewhat, I was enjoying the idea. The story itself, it's like, gee, I know this is going to happen. I know this is going to happen. I know this person's going to be this person. I know that, this, and that. And it drove me nuts because it's like, I know you're going to get here. Please don't go here. I was hoping there'd be a twist and it wouldn't go there. Then it went there and I was like, ugh. So, again, the performances in this are good. Even though the movie does have a touching moment near the end of the movie, the very end of the movie is very bleak. Not exactly a message I was looking for at the end of 2020. But you know, it is what it is. It's a bleak movie. The ending is very bleak. And I mean, there might be possibility for happiness in the future or whatever. But who knows? I mean, the world, who knows if they'll survive underground and all that stuff, even though we don't ever go there. The movie just kind of leaves it open ending. But the ending, what they give you is very bleak, and it just, that, and with the predictable stuff that happened in this movie, when it comes to Clooney's character, and when it comes to Felicity Jones's character, it ruined it for me. It's hard for me to recommend The Midnight Sky. You still might like it. I know a lot of people that do, but me, it was too predictable when it shouldn't have been. And yeah, it didn't do it for me. And it's free on Netflix, so I mean, you're not out any money other than your monthly subscription if you want to see it. Next up is Paul Greengrass's new movie, News of the World, starring Tom Hanks. Okay, this movie, it is bleak as well. Like the last movie. That being said, this is a good bleak movie because it finds happiness where it needs to. Look, you have a soldier, or a former soldier played by Tom Hanks, former Civil War soldier, and the movie is about him facing his past, in part of the movie of getting over what happened to him in the war and everything else. He by chance finds this little girl who doesn't speak English, and circumstances lead him to trying to take her to her aunt and uncle to raise her, because the person that was taking her is dead. She was taken by Native Americans when she was very young, raised by the Native Americans, but then they were killed, and the government was wanting to take her back, and then they got killed. So he kind of inherited this mission. I really dug this movie, even though a lot of it wasn't happy. Tom Hanks and Helena Zengel, if that's how you say her name, she's a relative newcomer, and they had a really good chemistry together. You've got sort of this, I mean, if you're watching shows like The Mandalorian, or if you've seen Wolf and Cub, or, you know, it's just, you know, the adult, you know, even Logan, you have this adult taking this child on a journey kind of movie. And I really dug everything that was going. They had to deal with bounty hunters after them, and they ended up in a town that was ruled with an iron fist, and you know, Tom Hanks' character kind of starts an uprising in said town, and they go through all sorts of adventures. I don't want to talk too much about the movie. It is a very slow movie. The pace is extremely slow, but I still really dug it. Tom Hanks is really good, and again, he had a good on-screen rapport with Helena Zengel. And again, it's about his character, both of them really, trying to find their place in this new world that's after the Civil War. So I highly recommend it. You can still see it in theaters once your theaters open up around you, and I do recommend it. Next up is Pixar Soul, which you can see on Disney+. This one stars Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey. Jamie Foxx's character, his whole life, he wants to be a musician. He finally gets a chance, and then he dies. But his soul ends up in whatever you want to call this, heaven or whatever it's called. the afterlife. And he's trying to find a way back. He meets up with this soul that hasn't found its thing yet. And they end up going on an adventure. I like this movie, but I can definitely see where everyone's picking this one apart with how the story goes. It's a cartoon, so you kind of got to let some realism go when it comes to, well, he fell down a manhole and died, but when he comes back, he's fine. He has no... he has no, like, physical... Like, he didn't smash his head into concrete down there or something like that, right? It's he's dead, and then all of a sudden he's back alive and he's just fine. No injuries, no nothing. You just got to kind of let that stuff go. It's basically a journey of two characters kind of discovering what's really important to them, what is their, what's going to keep them going. Is your dream always the thing that you want most, or do you think it's what you want the most? There's all sorts of messages like that. It's a cute movie. I enjoyed it. It's probably not one I'd watch again, but I did enjoy it. I thought the ending was a little too open. And again, if they would, I guess there was a different ending that people didn't like, so they changed it. I don't know what the original ending was, and if I said what I thought it was, it might ruin the movie. But no, it for free on Disney Plus. I would recommend it. I wouldn't say I liked it as much as like Inside Out. I thought the characters, like say in Inside Out, were more, I wouldn't say relatable, because these characters were somewhat relatable too, but they had more oomph to them. These characters were good. I enjoyed them, and I did enjoy this movie, but I am glad that it came out on Disney Plus, which I still do recommend watching it though. Next up is Promising Young Woman, starring Carey Mulligan. I have been looking forward to this movie for a long time. I got a screener for it, and man, this movie was pretty much everything I hoped it would be, even though the ending might have been a little predictable for me. I still enjoyed it because I enjoyed the journey as a whole. What you have here is a woman that you don't know what she's doing at first. You think, is she stalking men to kill them? Is she stalking men to just humiliate them? What is she doing? When you finally figure it out, why she's doing what she's doing, she has a bit of a plan, but the journey is just one to watch. Because she ends up meeting someone that used to have a crush on her back in college, back in a medical school. And there's the relationship there. And this just all leads to a path of her getting back at those that wrecked her life. And a lot of people might see this as just a simple revenge story, and I get that, I really do. But for me, I thought Carey Mulligan was really good in this. I'm getting sick and fucking tired of people saying she's not hot enough to pull this part off. Shut up. I'm sorry, that's stupid. She's not hot. First of all, it doesn't matter. Second of all, she has to... Carey Mulligan's a beautiful woman, and she has to dull herself down for this part. So, I don't even want to hear it. There's parts where it's like you've got a real beautiful woman in life, right? And her character is supposed to be kind of... I wouldn't say homely, but just kind of doesn't like to put herself out there, being beautiful, right? So she has to dumb herself down there. But then that character has to dress up to get the attention of these men. So it's actually multi-layered. So anyone that's saying she's not beautiful enough to pull this off, you're an idiot. But anyway, yeah, she's fantastic in this movie. Bo Burnham definitely puts on a different performance. He gets a little silly at times, and again, what do you expect? He's a comedian. But you also have other comedians like Alison Brie in this who have stepped up, say in like shows like Glow, and then in this, doing more dramatic parts. And all in all, I just enjoyed the journey of Carey Mulligan's character, even though I saw the ending coming a mile away. I was enjoying the journey. So as long as I'm enjoying the journey, I was accepting of the ending because I liked where the journey was going. I liked some of the twists, even though I kind of saw one of the big twists coming, or at least in some way coming. It's like it didn't surprise me when it happened. But yeah, if you get a chance to see Promising Young Woman, if you haven't seen the trailer, do not watch the trailer, because if I hadn't seen the trailer, it probably would have made some of what happened in this movie a little more effective. It would help me to have not seen everything coming a mile away, because if you've seen the trailer, like, oh, here's that scene, right? Now I see how that fits in. So if you haven't seen the trailer for it, don't watch the trailer before watching the movie. Carey Mulligan is awesome in this. I'm not going to say it was the best movie last year. I haven't really looked into, I've been kind of not paying attention to what I thought was best of last year, because last year sucked. So I'm not saying it all sucked in movies. There were good movies last year, but I just didn't care for a while, and part of me still doesn't. But this movie's really good. It was one of the better movies last year, and if you get a chance to see it, definitely check it out. Alright, let's talk about Wonder Woman 84. If you watched me and Rob's New Year's discussion over on his channel, Smirking Gun Reviews, you heard me talking about Wonder Woman 84 already and how much I didn't like it. He loved it, and I get why he loved it, but I didn't. I was into the movie, at least mostly, because there's already some stuff going on I didn't like when the chase scene happened, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, you have a wishing stone and people making wishes, and Wonder Woman's wish turns into the Quantum Leap for some reason, where Chris Pine's character comes back. And while I get where this movie was going with its heart, I do. Even for a superhero movie, it's just implausible and dumb. Even though the performances, I thought Kristen Wiig was really good. Gal Gadot was good. Chris Pine was funny. Pedro Pascal was, his performance was really good. Even though I'm sorry, spoiler, but I'm sick and tired of bad guys being forgiven for almost destroying the world. And that's another thing, Warner Brothers, you don't have to destroy the world in every movie. You could have just had a story grounded a bit. You know, Suicide Squad, world's gonna end. Man of Steel, world's gonna end. Batman v Superman, world's gonna end. Justice League, world's gonna end. It doesn't always have to end, everybody. Come on. So I'm looking forward to Batman. But yeah, this one, then again, they may fit a world-ending plot into that one. Who knows? But yeah, long story short, it's off of HBO now. You can still see it in theaters. I can't recommend it. I didn't like this movie pretty much at all. Again, if you want to hear me break it down, go to Smirking Gun Reviews, Rob's channel, Rob Stone's channel, and listen to our discussion on his New Year's live stream that we did. I broke it down and thought about it more then, and I just don't feel like thinking about it now. All right, let's talk about The Marksman, Liam Neeson's new movie. Hey, did you know that Liam Neeson has a particular set of skills and that it's going to help him, win whatever mission that the movie puts him on? Yeah, you get another one here. That being said, I didn't mind this one so much. Basically, Liam Neeson's character is, he's a former Marine turned snitch, and this movie used to, I guess, to be called The Minuteman. He's a former Marine turned snitch, tattling on people crossing the border, and he's snitching to the Border Patrol, and they go pick him up because they're going right through his land. Enter a woman and her son coming through the fence. He sees them, he stops them, the cartel's after him, they kill the mom, he takes the boy, and they go on a road trip to Chicago. This movie's not bad. It's everything you expect it to be. And with Liam Neeson's character being a widower, you know how it's going to turn out for him. Basically, spoiler, death equals happiness, but not until he makes himself worthwhile of living first. So yeah, he has to learn that, oh, maybe I shouldn't have tattled on everyone crossing the border. And look, I know it can be a problem, but people, everybody of every race, the human race deserves some safety. Everyone deserves a chance. And without getting into a philosophical discussion, uh, that's the lesson he learns as well. You know, this boy and maybe others deserve a chance. That's before he dies and gets to go see his wife. See, you knew where it was going. I don't recommend seeing it in a theater, but if you like Liam Neeson, it comes out on demand or whatever, and it's cheap. It's a Liam Neeson. Honestly, another kind of adult, chaperone's kid kind of movie. Kind of like The Midnight Sky was, and kind of like News of the World was. It's not a great movie, but it was fine for what it was. Next up, Outside the Wire. It's basically, I don't know, Terminator meets Training Day, and I kind of saw where it was coming, where it was going to go a mile away. You have, in the near future, a drone pilot he disobeys an order, and he end up sent to this war zone where he teams up with super futuristic super soldier Anthony Mackie, and they have to go on a mission to stop a terrorist. This movie, it was fine. It's free on Netflix, so it was fine. But yeah, it's futuristic Training Day. That's what it is. And that being said, that's how you know where Anthony Mackie's character is going to go in this. I do like the idea of a drone pilot having to see like what damage he's doing by just pressing a button. So I liked where they went with that. I also liked that they had this whole thing about robot soldiers, and they were called Gumps. And I think they were called Gumps because they were as stupid as stupid does. They made a point of showing soldiers like smacking them in the head, and they weren't doing anything, and except just kind of sitting there and taking it. Of course, that pissed off futuristic robot Anthony Mackie. But anyway, all in all, it's not a bad movie. It tries to be a little philosophical, but I don't think it knows what its philosophy is. For a few stretches, I would have liked to seen it do more like the robot soldiers and stuff, because that stuff was actually really cool. I liked watching the robots fight. You'd see the difference between, like, say, the Russian robots and the American robots. But yeah, it was fine for what it was, but it's free on Netflix, so yeah, it's fine for watching. I probably would have been somewhat disappointed in this one if it was in theaters. Alright, now let's talk about a disappointment. The Little Things. I saw the trailer for The Little Things, and man, I was wanting it to be really good. I have never really been impressed with Rami Malek, but I liked him in this. Denzel Washington, of course, is Denzel Washington, and Jared Leto, given the right story, can be really good, and I really liked him in this. So the acting in this was good. I liked a lot of the characters. The story, however, was so predictable, and I knew where the ending was going to go, and the movie, in a way, reminded me of Seven. You have, old detective, well, in this case, old detective turned sheriff. And then you have new upstart, hotshot detective, right? And they're searching for a serial killer. While the movie doesn't really go as far as, say, Seven did with the kills and everything, but the same premise. So you got these, two cops searching for this serial killer. And again, even though the movie tries to throw you off and say, oh, it's the little things that'll get you caught, and the little things that this, and the little things that. So of course you're looking for little things, and you find out though, you're just like, nah, these are red herrings. These little things are red herrings, and the story is going to go exactly where you think it's going to go. And like, for one example that I caught was, I have this steak knife that the tip is broke off. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it ended up. Years ago, it broke off. And the movie had a knife with a broken tip. And of course, that reminded me of that. And that's where I was just like, nah, this movie's just trying to throw me off. They're not going to find that tip of the knife somewhere, but it wants you to think they are. But no, you see where it's going. You see how the ending's going to go. And the whole time, I'm just like, man, the HBO Max was recommending that I watch Seven next. I was like, no, I wish I was just watching Seven now. Again, the performances are good, but if it's predictable, it's so predictable. If you can get past the predictability, it's still not a terrible detective thriller. But man, I knew exactly how it was going to end, and it did. I knew they were going to leave some things ambiguous. I knew some things were going to be swerves. I knew this, and I figured it out. Not a bad movie, really not, but so predictable, and it made me look. We've had Wonder Woman 84, and we've had The Little Things now as the straight to HBO Max for 30 days thing, and so far they're not doing so hot. Okay, let's talk about Monster Hunter. I know nothing about the video game, nor do I care to look it up. I imagine some of the weapons and things from this and some of the monsters are in the game. I don't know if the story is the same in the game. I've heard it's not, but, after watching it, I don't care. This is a setup movie. It feels like, and granted, you've got Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich in this. It feels like another setup for another Resident Evil type franchise, and damn it, I do not want another one of those. While some of the monsters were cool and some of the action was cool, granted you have a bunch of characters that can take massive shots that would kill anybody, but they're getting flung across into buildings and rocks, and they can carry around weapons that are bigger than they are, a la Final Fantasy. It's just a big cutscene of a movie, and that's all it is to me. And I knew it was going to be a setup. They didn't even really introduce the villain until they had someone shown in a hood at the end. Reminded me of another movie that did that the villain revealed themselves, and I don't even remember what that movie was. It's been driving me nuts. But they took their hood off or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's that actor, and we never got a sequel. It's probably going to be the same thing with this. Granted, we'll probably get 17 of these like we did in Resident Evil. Like I said, the monsters were cool. But really, there wasn't enough story here other than, hey, here's these characters, and they're going to be trying to stop this portal from staying open in the next movie. So, it's a setup movie. That's all it is. That's basically all it was. I don't know anything about the game. Watching this movie doesn't make me want to play the game. If you love the game, great. Let me know what the differences are, because I do not want to research them. Now, let's get dumber. Let's talk about Fatale, starring Michael Ealy and Hilary Swank. I hated this movie. I hated it from the get-go. Look, I am not the biggest fan of Michael Ealy. It's nothing personal. I just haven't really liked him in many movies, if any. And I knew what kind of character he's going to be in this. He was going to make stupid decisions, and he was going to end up being seen as the hero at the end. What a shock. That's what happened. Hilary Swank's character is this on-the-edge cop. Whether or not she's really setting this thing up that's happening to him or not, I don't think so, but she got used by him in Vegas because, apparently what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas. And you have Michael Ealy's character getting set up by Hilary Swank's character to find out things that are happening to him anyway. Just look, everyone in this movie sucks. Everyone in this movie is not good people, and it's hard to root for any of them. They want you to try to root for Hilary Swank's character for a bit, even though she ends up being the craziest of the crazies. What is it with her playing crazy characters lately? Mike Coulter's pretty smooth in this, but he's stupping Michael Ealy's wife in this, and sure enough, that's what happens. Everyone does what everyone thinks you're going to do, and everyone that's going to die you think is going to die dies. And I wouldn't really call it a surprise, but I really thought all the main characters were going to die in this, but no, one of them survives. And, apparently recorded tapes by non-police officers are admissible in court, because then everything turns out in the end okay for our main character. So, and really, with everyone dead around him, you would think that he would show any signs of remorse, but no, he's rich still and riding in his convertible at the end. And this movie was stupid, and I can't believe I sat through the whole thing and wanted it to end about 10 minutes in. Okay, here's a few I forgot after recording. First of all, I saw Milan. What's the point of this movie? The changes they made were not worth it. I'm not the biggest fan of Milan anyway, and this one didn't do anything to make me love it even more, even though this was definitely worse than the cartoon. Next up is the Star Wars Holiday Special, technically a sequel to The Rise of Skywalker, because Rey has her yellow lightsaber. It does not make fun of the original Holiday Special as much as it should. It's just one of the okay versions of one of the Lego Star Wars movies that they've been doing lately. And Ava, I don't really remember much about it other than I remember it being predictable. I like John Malkovich, and I like Jessica Chastain, and the movie was okay. I think I just don't remember anything about it. I saw it too long ago, and it must not have been memorable because I barely remember anything about it. Last up, and this one's just coming out, but it's not out yet, but I can talk about it because the embargo's over, and I want to warn you in advance that Bliss sucks. This one, I saw the trailer and thought it looked pretty cool. Stars Owen Wilson, Salma Hayek. Basically, you have there's the real world and the not so real world, so it's kind of like Matrixy. Except that robots aren't using this as batteries. This is actually just a scientific experiment by Salma Hayek's character, who, boy, is she hamming it up in this movie. I've never seen her ham it up this much in a movie. Look, if this movie would have kept the serious tone that it was pretending that it was trying to have, it might have been okay. But the fact that everyone in this movie is so damn ridiculous, except for the girl that's playing Owen Wilson's daughter in it, they're all just plain ridiculous, and the movie is so hard to sit through. And I know it's going to be on Amazon, but don't waste your time. It's not even worth watching. The message is trying to portray, it's trying to garner sympathy for Owen Wilson's character, but it's hard to, and you can't, especially when you learn who he really is. You learn that no, he's not really in this world. He's a douchebag outside of it, because he's not a simulation. He's a real person, and apparently people. It's just like the Matrix. Granted, they have to take drugs to do it, but they have like magical powers basically where they can control the world with their hands. So yeah, the idea is there, and if you saw the trailer, you think there's an idea there, but trust me, this movie is a pain in the ass to watch, and I will not recommend it there. I am caught up. I am done. I will see you later, maybe.